Welcome everybody to a fun new initiative of our Global Missions Department. We are trying to create a platform where our congregation can learn more, be educated about what God is doing around the world, and through that to be empowered in how we can participate. We hope to expose you through our ministry partners, people that in ministries that we've partnered with for a long time, and we have a lot to learn from. And today we are very, very excited to have our ministry partner with us who works with YWAM. He is based in Spain and works with Muslim countries. And he is married with 3 kids, and he is going to help us learn about what God is doing in the Muslim world, and specifically educate and equip us about what Ramadan is and how we can not only participate as Christians, but also be empowered to reach Muslims as a growing population in our own city here in San Antonio. So we're very, very honored to have this time. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. It's good to be here with you guys.
Well, I'm wondering, we're just so everyone knows, we're not saying your name just for the protection of what God is doing through you for you and your family. But would you share a little bit with us about what the Muslim world is, and specifically the diversity that's within Islam across what we call the Muslim world?
Sure. Just let me introduce how Islam came. First, Islam came to the world about 1500 years ago in the area, in the Gulf area, what we call it Saudi Arabia. It's specifically it came through a man called Muhammad, and it started very slow in the area of Mecca and Medina, and it started. Muhammad started trying to convince his friends, the area, the people around him, and so he started growing. He was a very good, influential guy, and the more he started growing, the more he started getting more ideas about getting outside of his own country, and I want to also explain something about Islam. Islam has 5 pillars, which is most Muslims, they really, it's about duty, like praying, giving 2.5% of their income to poor people or to the mosque, pilgrimage, if they can afford financially. They can go to Mecca just to visit where Muhammad used to live. There is also the 4th pillar is called the witnesses, the 2 witnesses. Every Muslim need to say, I witness that God is the only God and Muhammad is the prophet of God. And if you said that, it means you are a Muslim, even if anyone said that they are not Muslims before they die, they try to convince them to say this to witnesses. And the 5th one is the fasting, fasting Ramadan.
And we're going to hear about Ramadan, but before people get too excited about only a 2.5% almsgiving, I know as Christians we have a baseline of tithing, which is 10%, but I think it highlights a great distinction between the 2 faiths. On the one hand, Islam is very performance driven, and you have to practice the 5 pillars and actually approach Allah through Islam in a way that it's almost scales, like you're weighed in your performance. Christianity is very different. We know that we are all hanging in the balance on the scales. There's no way that we could be perfect to earn God's favor or our place. We're saved by his grace alone. And so our giving is a response. The tithes and the offerings that we give are an act of worship in view of his mercy. And so there's a key distinction between the faiths, and at the center, that's the gospel. It's a personal work of Jesus. But if you could share with us a little bit about that 5th pillar, the fasting, what is called Ramadan, and that is a whole month, right? A whole lunar calendar month that is coming upon us. Tell us a little bit about that.
Okay, just before I said that, also I want to add about something about tithes. You know, the 2.5%.
Right.
I think Muslims gave 2.5% out of being afraid from God. It's not. We as Christians, we give because we believe, God, you gave us, you blessed us, and we are gonna give it back to you. But for them, I gave 2.5%. Because if I didn't do that, God will take my money away from me. So out of fear from God, not out of, oh, I'm giving you back, God. Something also about prayer. Muslims pray 5 times a day. And the same prayers, they don't really think much about what they pray. It's becoming like a memorizing prayers, and they don't really meditate about it. So that's the 2 things I want to share about prayer and tithes. I will go back again now to Ramadan.
Thank you.
Or fasting Ramadan. Every year there is a 1 month of Ramadan where Muslims can fast all the entire month. They start from sunrise to sunset. From sunrise to sunset, they don't eat anything or drink anything, or even if they are smoking cigarettes or anything, they don't do that. It's a month for them. They call it the holy month. It's a month where they try to get closer to God. A lot of them try to finish reading the Quran. And the more you finish reading the Quran, the more you take good deeds. You know, Islam depends on they believe in Jannah, heaven and hell. You know, they say if you do something some good deeds, you will have the angel on your right counting how many points good points you have. You did something wrong, you will have bad points, and when you die, they will see if you have more good points, you'll go to heaven, even if there is no guarantee about that. But
it's in like Ramadan, a big scoreboard.
Yes, it's exactly scoreboard. And Ramadan, in the month of Ramadan, they say if you go to pray in the mosque, every step from your house to the mosque, you will have 100 times more good deeds than a normal day. So a lot of them try to go to the forest mosque even to get more good deeds. If every time they finish reading the Quran, they have more good deeds. So it's becoming like a mathematic for a lot of people.
Absolutely. You know, I lived in Indonesia for a long time, which is the largest Muslim populated country in the world. And you could see Ramadan, I mean, they would put blinds in all the restaurants and shut down. They wouldn't serve food to really try to promote the fasting. And people were walking to their prayers very regularly. Those are images that really ring true for my experience as well. But it's a great time, I think, for Christians to pray for the Muslim world. And one thing we want to do for our church is we want to empower prayer, targeted prayer, through offering a prayer guide for Ramadan. Now, why would you encourage people to pray for Muslims as they are praying during Ramadan? Why would that be an opportunity for us?
I think because they try to get closer to God in their own way, even if they are I have to say they are believing in a different God than ours. So the more we pray that Jesus go and open their eyes to see the truth, to know the truth, that will help them, because they are trying their best to not to do a lot of bad mistakes, sin. Try to be holy, because this is what their God is saying. So they are more in an atmosphere of can listen to or have time to listen to God. So if we pray, God, open their eyes to in your own way for them to understand, even when they read the Quran.
Right.
God can open their eyes about many things, because it happened many times when people start reading the Quran to understand,
Right.
not to take good deeds. There's different. A lot of them, even in Ramadan, they just want to finish reading the Quran to take the good deeds or point. But if they start reading the Quran to understand, this is the main point that we are looking for, because I have never seen anyone who read the Quran to understand and he didn't leave Islam.
Right. I mean, because it lacks internal coherence. There's lots of inconsistencies. And one thing that I pray during Ramadan is that friends of mine that are Muslim, that are practicing, that they would experience the emptiness of it, and that they would long for a true connection with God, not one that is based on their performance. And so what I hear you articulating is a real opportunity for all of us as Christians at our church in particular to really participate in praying for Jesus to reveal himself. What a beautiful prayer. We hear stories all the time of from the Muslim world where people see visions of Jesus, or people are drawn to Christ through relationships they have with people they might not even have known were Christians. Tell us where you see God working to draw Muslims to himself, or as you develop and train leaders that are Christians, Muslim background leaders, where are you seeing God working right now?
Oh, God is doing an amazing thing right now. I think I have been 29 years working in this ministry.
Wow.
And the more I work, the more I discover that Muslim background believers are the best one to witness to their own country and or people. Because Muslims look at me as a Christian with so many questions. We cannot go through it in right now, but when a Muslim will say, this is what happened to me, this is what Jesus came to me in a dream, or this is what Jesus changed my life. This witness, the personal testimony, is the most powerful thing for Muslims. So I have been realizing that the best thing for me to do is try to train and help the Christian background believers how to be leaders, how to be, because, okay, here is the point. When a Muslim came to know the Lord, it's not the end. We think that this is the end of the story, but this is nothing,
It's a new beginning, right?
It is the new beginning. A lot of people, the Muslims, they believe in Jesus, but they still living under the influence of Islam. I have one guy. He was in my school, and we were playing Yahtzee. It's a very funny, silly game, And he was trying to flip the dice because he wanted to win, and he didn't understand that this is not right, But because this is what he had been living all his life, is that that's different. If I cheating in a game to win, this is like a very funny story. But what I mean is, the more I train those people to live a good life, daily life with Jesus, are the more powerful. Because when persecution comes, and so many times persecution comes, when we as workers leave the countries, if we don't train those leaders, we are going to lose everything. And it happened before in our area 10 years ago. So right now, because of the COVID-19 that hit us, we started a year ago. We started doing something called, all the schools we have been working, or I have been doing in the last 10 years, I collected all the graduates from that schools. Everybody who finished GTSs in the last 10 years,
Wow.
we start meeting every week with them. And step by step, we find out that we made another meeting where every one of them started to have a group of followers or church or friends. So we started another meeting where we meet, we call it the kingdom family, where anybody, whether they are Christian believers or non-believers, or they are looking for the truth, we are meeting all of us together. So, and we start working on them, the graduates that now we have a lady, she has 2 churches. She opened 2 churches, women churches. A couple, they have 30 people in their meeting. That's just because we are trying to focus on our DTS graduates to encourage them to do that. So there is a lot of multiplication, even if we are locked down here in our country. Yeah. But they are. If we encourage them, if we train them, they will do great things.
Well, it's a beautiful picture for at least 2 reasons. First, I mean, all new believers have to be trained. They have to be led. They have to be parented, really, in the faith. That we call that discipleship. And so to eliminate that temptation to just have a very shallow faith, and you are really helping Christians mature in the gospel. That's beautiful. But not only that, you articulate a powerful picture of the multiplication, the fruitfulness that comes. You mentioned DTS schools. Those are actually discipleship training schools that you have led. And many of your graduates go on to actually start churches, build churches, and help advance churches around the region, right? And that's it. For both of those reasons, it's a really powerful picture. It's also important for believers to have deep roots when difficult times come. And that would include circumstances like a bad economy or a pandemic. Those are bad times for Western American Christians. But you're living in a world where persecution, risk of life is very real. Where have you seen the deep roots of discipleship and faith give strength during tough times of persecution for Christians in the Muslim world?
Okay, I do believe knowing God, and I don't mean also only for Muslims. I mean even for us as Christians. We need to grow up in our understanding of who God is.
Yes.
How things we can do it to become a better people, having introducing the Jesus image in the right way. Because there's so many people, sadly, especially in the Muslim world, they have a bad idea or a bad image of a Christian person. There's so many times I am going to say a story right now to show that our lifestyle can change people. I was in a Muslim country and I met this guy, great guy, engineer. You know, he was a homeless guy for some reason. Long story. And this guy, he doesn't have money. All what I did for him and my team, we were inviting him to eat with us breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That's all what we did. And after a while, he said, "What you're doing here?" We said, "We are here to pray for this country." Like he said, "What you mean? You come all the way from your own country to pray for what?" So we said, "We pray for this country that God will bless the country, bless the president, bless the people." So he said, "That's all?" So he said, "Can I come with you?" I said, "Of course you can come with us if you would like to." So he came, and after 5 days, he came and he said, "I would like to become a Christian." I said, "What you mean you want to become a Christian? I didn't even talk to you about God or about Jesus or about being Christian or anything." He said, "You don't need to talk to me about Jesus. because I saw him in your teeth.
Wow.
So many times we think that we need to say something, but if we really live a good life as a Christian people who love Jesus, I think it will change people without talking.
That's a great story, and it's a perfect bridge to the final question. And Lindsay is, I want her to chime in on this too, but in San Antonio, we have a growing Muslim population. This is generally coming through different immigrants and refugees, but I think I can anticipate the answer after that story. I mean, what a beautiful, powerful picture that hospitality plays in displaying the love of Christ and inviting people, just living invitationally, that they would be drawn to the Lord. But what are ways that you would suggest for our church family, Lindsay, and both of y'all, if you could answer this, that we could reach out and show the love of Christ to a growing Muslim population in our city?
Okay, this question is very good. I can spend days talking about it, but let me say it very quickly. Muslims, they are our cousins. Go back, a long story where Abraham didn't have a boy. Sarah gave him Hagar, and he got Ishmael.
Right.
And after that, Ishmael came, and after that, Isaac came. So Abraham kicked Hagar and Ishmael out of the family.
Right.
So very, very short. I have a big teaching about it. I hope one time I can come to say it, but to make it short, Ishmael didn't do anything wrong to be kicked out. He didn't do anything wrong. It wasn't his fault. So basically, us and Muslims, because Muslims came from Ishmael, we are cousins. We are originally one family. That's one thing. Second thing, he didn't do anything wrong.
Right.
The rejection, the spirit of rejection, and this is the most hard thing you can find with Muslims, the spirit of rejection. If we can help them to get out of that spirit of this bondage, spirit of rejection, we are gonna see a lot of miracles happen. There is I will end up with these three major things. If you forgot my words, what I said, remember those three things, that we have it in Christianity and they don't have it in Islam.
Yeah.
Number one, God is love. We have God is love. They don't have God is love. They have a 99 names for God, but none of the 99 names of God called God is love. So share about what did that mean to you, God is love. The second thing, I can have a personal relationship with God. They don't have that. They believe the last person who heard God and God talked to him was Muhammad 1,500 years ago. So if I can share what God to me, I can talk to God, God can answer my prayers, it will change all their identity and understanding of who God is. That's number two. Number three, the salvation, the assurance of salvation. We believe, if we believe in Jesus Christ, that he came and he died for us, we will be going to heaven. We have the assurance that God will take us to heaven. They don't have this assurance at all. The second leader after Muhammad, he said, if my right legs in heaven and my left leg out of heaven, I'm not sure that God will take me to heaven. So like half of his body in heaven, there is no assurance, even if they pray, even if they give 2.5%, even if they fast Ramadan, did everything good, it's up to God. And we will never, ever change our destiny. If God chooses you, no matter what happened, he will not change his destiny.
Amen. So, those are powerful distinctions right there. And I do hope that you can come and unpack them and share them more in person, because we want to grow in loving our Muslim neighbors in this city. And Lindsay, you are our Director of Missions and Mobilization. What would you add to that?
I think these 3 points are so strongly rooted in gospel and truth, and that very truth that I think our Muslim neighbors are seeking through Ramadan. And personally, I think that building relationship in order to be able to share those things in a vulnerable setting is really important. And so I'd just love to hear kind of some practical steps you might encourage our church to take in this city.
I want to encourage everybody by telling you that Muslims are not dangerous. They are not going to bite us. They're not going to bite you. The bad Muslims, they are hiding underground, you know. Most Muslims, they are like us. They want to raise their kids. They want to get more money, get much better life. So don't be afraid of them. You need to be wise, but don't be afraid of them. Show them that you care about them. Show them that this is what Jesus said. Our religion is a religion of love. It's a family religion. So the more we show them that we care about them, the more we show them that who Jesus is in our life, the more they will understand, they will change their idea about us. A lot of few things we can be try to avoid is don't talk bad about Islam or about Muhammad. That's very, very important because Muhammad for them is like Jesus for us. Exactly. So don't try to get angry if he said something bad or try to put you in a difficult position. Don't get angry at them. Don't try to let them. Okay, it's a war. Like I'm gonna win or lose. It's not about winning or losing. It's about relationship. Show them your hospitality. When Ramadan comes, say, I hope that you'll have a great Ramadan month, you know. Tell us more, ask questions. If you ask them questions, they will open their hearts and they will be able to ask you questions also about your faith.
That's great. And I'm hearing that takes a lot of intentionality of relationship. And part of that for us is providing platforms for people to do that in our congregation. And there's different organizations that can empower that in our city in relationship. And so we'll be sure to keep those on everybody's radar. But right now, I want to thank you so much for joining us, for your long-standing partnership with our congregation. And I want to invite all of our FBC family to pray for the Muslim world during Ramadan. We will provide booklets that'll be all throughout the building and online if you're not able to come down here during this time. But they're beautiful, actually, and informative of the different countries and the different flavors of Islam and different specific ways that we can pray for what God is doing. So this has been a very encouraging time for me. Thank you both for joining us. And we will look forward to more of these quick interviews so that we can continue learning from our ministry partners and how we can more faithfully and fruitfully participate in what God is doing around the world. Thank you so much.
Thank you guys so much. And thank you for praying and working hard to reach out to Muslims in your country. Thank you very much.